So, path number one is called Samyak Drishti. That means the right Drishti meaning view, not view, a perspective. Samyak. Okay? That means that's very right, very correct and very good. That's all. That means what? To develop right understanding. Okay? No misunderstanding, no delusions, no illusions. Right understanding. That is the normally said the first thing. What does it imply? That means the great majority of people, by centricity and conformity, by fear of the ambiguity and uncertainty and self-doubt and lack of sensitivity, they only have a biased view given by the other people, powerful people, majority of people. That's all. I would say the minds of the great majority are nothing but duplicates, copied.
Copy.
So Buddha says, do not just like that copy. Ensure that you have so-called right understanding. So how will somebody know without creative analytical thinking what is right understanding? What is the so-called right? For example, in case of religion, the Christians say we are right. Now, Islam says they are right. I don't know whether the Hindus go around saying that, but they feel what they are right also. Though they don't insist on anybody. They don't want to kill anybody, enforcing that to go by what we say. That's all. That's the main difference, that's all. Now let me tell you, I am neither a Hindu nor a Christian nor a Muslim. At the age of 19, I was accompanying a foreigner to Guruvayur temple. Not a foreigner, an adult. He was a student. He was doing some study in Kerala University. So I accompanied him to one of the so-called great temple of Kerala state called Guruvayur temple, where so-called Lord Krishna was the deity. So he was wearing, and outside it is written, non-Hindus are not allowed to the temple. It is written huge board in Malayalam only at that time. I don't know whether there was an English board.
How one will get to know that? Whether he is a Hindu or
And that's what I said. Then reaching there, I said, now you go. You go and see the pot and all that. I will stay here. Like I did in Kotanur.
Ah, yeah.
So he asked why. I said, do you see this board, blue board? I will tell you after coming back. So he went around and he came out about 20-25 long minutes. And there is such a crowd, my dear Asuni. You know, crowd meaning queue will be at least 3 kilometers long.
Abba.
Not in distance, so they will be like zigzag, they will be standing there. And that's a temple famous for doing the Thali ceremony of marriage. Some people have offering that the Thalikatta, I mean the tying of the nuptial knot will be done there and then elaborately a reception etc. wherever. In fact, 1 month back, it was a record number of that Thalikatta. You know the number of Thalikatta happened on one day, 74. So everyone will take at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So 740 minutes meaning about 5 to 6 hours. So that many number. So that is the supremeness, that's a different story. Centricity, conformity only. Now he came back and said, why didn't you come? I thought you are a philosopher, you are talking about, because I used to talk about Upanishads even when I was a degree student. Yeah. Because I was educated, I mean, not educated, my father used to tell me something which I never listened properly. But later only I realized that I am getting all my credit because of that. That's why I told you in my training program, I would say, you will remember what I told you on the deathbed. Because that's the kind of dialogues and sequences I edit in my dialogues to you. So you will remember everything, don't worry, over the years. But of course, for your case, you want to be establishing institutions, you have to rigorously learn it. What I mean to say that some passing sentences he made was coming to me very clearly. After some 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that's a different story. So, I thought you were a very so-called spiritual or religious person. Why didn't you come? I said, you know what is written in that board. Yeah, what is that? Only Hindus are allowed to enter the temple. Oh, I said, don't worry, nobody will notice you, okay? As you said, because that's why I told about the crowd, okay? At that time there was no Aadhaar card or ID card and all that. But he looked very fair and almost anybody can know. I said, are you not a Hindu? I said, no. And then what you are? I said, I am not a Hindu, I am not a Christian, I am just a human being only. Okay. That was my answer at the age of 19 or 20. Because of course, not my own discovery, but I was very convinced about it. Because of my mother, my mother only told me. I did not go much to schools. My mother, the first piece of English poetry my mother taught me was from Rabindranath Tagore, Gitanjali, leave the standing and singing, etc. I look into the dark corner of a temple with the doors are shut and go and see the god is there with the tiller is tilling the hand down. This is what my mother told me and taught me. Taking 2, 3, 4, 5 days, different times, nothing more, nothing more. And she belonged to one of the top Pujari families. She was born to one of the top Pujaris in Kerala state. Alright. Now, so, right perspective, right understanding you have to develop. This is also something which you have to evolve.
Observe with the Varshini.
And right understanding about yoga. Your own understanding. Reflect on things. Then when you reflect, then your own inner originality, that so-called genius. You know what is the meaning of the word genius? You don't know. English professors do not know. The real meaning. The true meaning, the core meaning. An English professor may talk for hours about genius. The genius of Shakespeare or the genius of Milton or T.S. Eliot and all such super genius English poets. But my question, I asked it to a group of 45 English professors in a conference when I was addressing them. Some of them included my teachers also.
Okay.
I said, you will not be able to know, but I will tell you. The root meaning of the word genius is the attendant spirit of a person or place or thing. Beautiful. The attendant spirit of a person, place or thing. That's the core meaning of the English word genius. And that is very critical because it is a genius level guy who created and systematized the dictionary and defined the words, okay? Every word is a magnificent tool. If you are so careful about using a pen, a throwaway pencil or a throwaway comb, you have to be equally careful in using every word. You don't have any right to violate its implications and connotations and significations. You can do with a word created by you, actually. So, attendant spirit. So, what is spirit? That energy. Attendant. What is an attendant? You press the bell, it comes. Earlier, even now I suppose in the government office or in other offices, they were calling bells. Now it is very advanced electrical bells. In the past there was actually a bell, tung. Then the way attendant is waiting outside the room, so he will enter, sir, yes sir. So that attendant spirit, when you call, it will come. Otherwise, why should there be a spirit for ordinary things? So that attendant spirit will produce the required answer. It is the attendant spirit that helped Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein or Rabindranath Tagore or T.S. Eliot or William Shakespeare or any great genius could do all those things. Do you think they can do it? No way. No way. Of course, with them the attendant spirit was more easily available because their minds were not trapped by the mindsets of centricity and conformity and fear of anxiety, fear and anxiety about the unknown and the uncertain and the strange and the unexpected. They were not afraid of uncertainty. That's all. They had their absolutely clear self tested by their own very, very dangerous kind of lives. All the so-called highly creative people were not born in palaces and comfort zones of homes and the care and custody of their parents. You know. So to them only that attendant spirit is so really free to come. It is not that as soon as Isaac Newton saw the fold opening, immediately he created the theory of gravitational force. It took several years, perhaps. It is not that Shakespeare or Milton or somebody wrote a poetry, tuck, 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 nobody. That attendant spirit will give you a clue, come on, look. And you have to go on looking.
Yeah.
So when you go on looking, like you go on, nobody can cook. No human being can cook even a single cup of tea. Cooking is done by the nature process. You can put the vessel on the fire with water.
Yeah.
Tung, tung, tung. Cooking happens there, not because of any of your magic or gods. So you go on firing, that is called inspiration. Inspire meaning fire. You maintain that inspiration, go on focusing on that water of your idea. One day it will reach the boiling point. So there is no course on right understanding like business ethics. Ethics was taught in the earlier monasteries of India. Now there is business ethics in management programs. I am the topmost guy in ethics. I don't teach textbooks. I have so many videos uploaded in my classes. Business ethics is a compulsory subject in MBA program. And ethics is now a compulsory subject for IAS entrance exam. Yeah. And they think learning theories about ethics. There are huge books on theories of ethics. Every religion, every philosophy has a theory on ethics. Yeah. And there are textbooks on business ethics, 400 pages like that. I said, no, I don't take textbooks. That anybody else can do it. You just read it. It's about so-called good and bad. And most of these books on ethics, business ethics, they are so huge because they are going giving the history of all big scams and corruptions and the stories. Students are sitting there and analyzing these big scams and corruptions by great companies and great other corporate leaders and analyzing them. That's what is going on in the top business schools in the world. I said it won't benefit. I said every Sunday great priests are talking ethics. Every Sunday in the churches greatly trained, educated, brilliant priests were delivering magnificent orations on ethics only. And what is happening? US is a so-called Catholic country. The entire problems in the world are actually induced secretly by US only. United States of America, a Catholic country. And they are talking about ethics. Okay. So I said, I am not here to teach. I have been teaching business ethics in a top institution in the country. Because the director wanted me to do that. I don't take the textbook. And if at all there is a textbook, what is the textbook for ethics? The Master Thief. Yeah. That's why these copies are sold. The institute purchased it and gave it to the students. And that also you go and read. And I tell them, I don't want to teach you ethics. I want to train your mind to be sensitive to what is right, wrong, correct, incorrect, right, good, bad. Okay?
Doing and being.
Yeah. I have read so many books on ethics. Actually, whenever I go to an institute, I will be in the library only. You know for what? To know whether somebody is writing at my level. Actually, yes. So ethics, I am the only one who defined ethics with a little more clarity. In fact, the director requested me, Sundar, please write a book on ethics. Actually, I wanted to do it. I am the one who really gave clarification on what is ethics. I am the one who differentiated like creativity, originality, innovation, discovery, etc. In creativity, I am the only one in the world. I am the one who said ethics has 3 dimensions: correct, incorrect, right, wrong, and good and bad. And I defined what is correct and incorrect. On what basis? What is right and wrong? On what basis? And what is good and bad? On what basis? Whereas all the other writers, even philosophers, would be vaguely using good, bad, it cannot be defined, good, and they give a lot of philosophy, and they will say whatever is good for one person, it may not be good for the other person, and going on talking the same thing. So, that's all extra. Of course, I used to talk about Buddha's Eightfold Path also, making them reflect upon that. So, Buddha's path. And why I am doing this, I am making you sensitive to the Eightfold Path of Buddha.
Got it, Doctor.
The topmost philosophy, according to me. And I tell this to the entire world, the topmost philosophy for human evolution is the Eightfold Principle of Buddha. I am declaring it through this YouTube. Though my YouTube will be seen by only by 40, 50 people, I am doing this. If they see it, it is their luck. And I am sure nobody can debate with me or deny what I say. Because what? Because Buddha talks about right understanding. Finished. That alone is enough. And people just cannot do it. Because they will say the same logic. What is right for you will not be right for the other. Okay? Christianity thinks that their understanding about the world and the life and death and God is right. Okay? The Islam fundamentalists think that Islamic worldview is the only right. And they are ready to kill others, so those who deny that. Okay? Very adamant and obsessed about the rightness of their philosophy. So they are also right. This I say because I told you I am not a Hindu, but as I understand, Hindus do not say that. I think they say that. But they don't insist on other people also to say that. At least that I am very sure. So then what is right? Is Christianity right or Islam right or Hindus right? What is right? You know? So you need that samurai sword like sharp attention and analytical thinking to see what is right. That's what I want to tell you, though these are not really relevant in my training program for you. But I told you, I am standing on top of the Everest. I can talk only what I see from the Everest top, unfortunately or fortunately. Or rather, this is what is coming to my mind. I don't ever plan what to talk to a person. Whether it is a training program for CEOs or senior managers or little children, whatever comes to me is the topic. So that's all. But centered, structured, conformity mindsets, sensitivity lag driven mindsets often find absolutely uncomfortable with my program. That's a different issue. Training programs in companies, not when somebody comes here.
Okay.
All right, sir. Okay. Now, 2. Right thinking. Ha ha ha! What a beauty! I actually I have heard about Buddha, but I read some of the Buddhist philosophical books only after I started teaching business ethics only. I was so surprised that this is what Buddha said. Right thinking. Or what you call Samyaka Sankalpa. Samyak Sankalpa. It is much beyond thinking, it is conceptualization, it is analytic thinking. Everybody in the world is thinking, okay? By thinking only they decide to design a corruption program or an unethical scam. After definite reflective analytic meditation on that one. The war strategies or the cunning strategies of yours is based on brilliant people sitting down and brainstorming and thinking. Not just like that the president of US felt one fine morning, not at all. Whatever attack on one fine morning, whatever be the Jews, whatever be the Palestine, one fine morning, 500 missiles delivered into their land, for whatever reasons. And then Israel found that some 500 people were already working in Israel, much before planning that operation. Right thinking or right aspiration. Right? So the second one is, as I said, the right motivation, the right aspiration or the right thinking. So how will somebody know whether my aspiration is right or not? Again. So I also said, Buddha said all these things and it won't work. Because in order to do all those things you need basic creative analytical ability. That's why I am interested in training in creative analytic thinking. I have written in my book, nobody can be creative or achieve enlightenment or higher level of evolution without that engine working. Like in the case of Buddha, as I said, how will you know whether perspective is right or not? How will you know whether your thinking or aspirations, needs, aspiration meaning your goals and plans are right or not? They are all doing right things only, okay?
Yeah.
I will go for engineering, I will go for IAS, I will go for medicine, I will marry this girl, I will marry this man, I will construct this kind of a house, I will buy this kind of a car. They are all doing right only according to them. They may ask their friends or groups and they may decide. And they will find that after 9 months, that marriage was a flop. We made a wrong choice, so-called, retrospectively. Then third one, very interesting, right speech. Wonderful. Fourth one, right action or right behavior, etc., etc. There are a huge books on this eighth path, giving interpretations, what is right action, etc., etc. Right livelihood. Ah. In which way ethical you should be? What way you make so-called money to manage your life? Which way you live? It includes what kind of food, etc. That's what I see in some of the Buddhist traditions. Buddha philosophy, Buddhist temples, Buddha philosophy, there are volumes written by other people, interpretation. There are two divisions of Buddhism called the Mahayana Buddhism and the Hinayana Buddhism. In fact, Zen is supposed to be a Buddhist thing. So therefore when somebody says Zen Buddhism, but there is no Buddha in Zen. Zen is beyond Buddha. Yeah. In fact, one of the great writers, I forgot his name, the name of the book is If You See Buddha on the Road, Kill Him. That's the title of the book. Buddha meaning the one who is enlightened, the one who got opened the inner.
Gateless gate.
Exactly. Of course, Buddha never talked about gateless gate. That is the Zen master's thing. And nobody knows who conceptualized the gateless gate or mind of no mind or who created actual Zen. There are so many well-known Zen traditions. They talk about 4, 5, 6 people. Well-known masters. There are no books on what they said because Zen masters never explained things to anybody. And like I told him right now, I don't believe in explaining all these things. And I told him right away, Bible has been doing it. Okay, why should I? Right effort. That means the effort must be right. You should put your effort or hard work on the right thing.
Right things.
With the right mind. Not like a lot of cooks cook in the restaurants of India. They just do it because for the money. They don't even follow the basic cleanliness and all those things. I have directly seen in hot summer seasons in the small time hotels. Other things, you have no entry into the kitchen, They deny that because the kitchen most of the time are maintained in such an ugly, confused, dirty state. Therefore, in so-called top hotels in India, almost all top hotels can see them cooking with well-dressed, that modern thing.
Yeah.
But I am talking about the country hotels. I have seen directly many times. It is so hot, and the guy who is frying something is wearing only a dhoti or a small trouser because the entire body is perspiring. And he is bending to put these things. I have seen with my eyes, so-called eyes, perspiration falling into the boiling, what you call,
Vessel.
pot, whatever vessel. Yeah. And in between he does this also. Nobody does a right effort in this country in general, I would say. That's what I told you about the videos I see about how a German worker or a Japanese worker working on the machine and the Indian worker is working on the machine. I think only very rarely an Indian factory is maintaining absolute neatness and cleanliness in the factory shop floor. In fact, there has been a measurement called ISO 9000, etc., standards organization. And there is an award for neatness and cleanliness in the factory shop floor. Yeah. Most of the time, a Tamil Nadu company called the TVS Group. I have been to there. I have conducted training program for the senior engineers and managers. And I have visited some of them. It is really spick and span clean. And they have got that award 2-3 times, #1 in the country. But nowadays I think most of the companies have to follow that. because now the entire manufacturing philosophy has changed because of the influence of the West or Japanese, the collaborators. So a Japanese company will not collaborate with an Indian company who do not follow their standards of. Japan is almost the number one in the world. You can lick the floor of the factory. That much perfectly maintained. That's the Japanese culture, which was derived out of the Zen, actually. Zen. So my book Master Thief also ends with that suggestion to the government of India. After all, Zen has gone from India. India government or India's organization should bring that Zen culture into India, and that's the end part of my book, The Master Thief. Instead of blindly following the American standards, bring the Zen to India. Evidenced by the beauty and wonder of the culture of Japan. I told you that book by D.T. Suzuki, Zen and Japanese culture. That's actually a book on Zen also, because he is very beautifully delineating how Zen has shaped the culture of Japan. Zen is not a religion, it is a perspective, it is about a way of existence, it is about right perspective, it is about right thinking, it is about right effort, it is about right living. Actually Zen. That is why it is called Zen Buddhism. Zen in principle is about all this eightfold path only. So Zen is reflected even in the way cooking is done in every kitchen in Japan. Not the modern Japan, which is almost industrialized, and most of the Zen is now absent in Japan. That's also the tragedy of Japan, I am telling. The tragedy of Japan. But even now in the distant provinces and prefectures in Japan, I am sure in every heart of Japan, Zen is still running, no doubt about that. But they cannot do it because of heavy industrialization and modernization. It is not possible. Now it is told that the Japanese youths are absolutely notorious and out of control and drug addicts and things like that. Japanese youth. And therefore, 3 years back or so, Japanese government has introduced compulsorily first 3 years of schooling should be on ethics and civics and citizenship and Zen kind of morality. First 3 years in the school, every Japanese child should learn Zen. India, so-called BJP government who wants to talk about bringing the glory of ancient Bharatavarsha back, they just don't have the guts to do that. I am so disappointed about BJP. Very disappointed. So right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. It is increasing in complexity. Okay. Okay. Then there comes a little complex. Right samadhi, right yoga. Then it is ultimate confusion. By having right dhyana, by having right concentration, that's all, something like that.
All these things covers even in our Ashtanga Yoga, doctor.
Yeah, yes.
Yamas, niyamas, asanas, pranayama.
Patanjali talks about.
Yeah. Dhyana, dharana, samadhi.
Yes.
That is much more elaborated, Patanjali's.
No, Patanjali does not elaborate. Patanjali also, like Zen Master, has written those verses very briefly only. But a lot of interpretations are available. In original Patanjali Yoga Sutra, just do not explain. Like a genius would not be interested in explanation. Because if he explains, it will be like me explaining. I used to talk about one mindset mental block for 5 days. One. Now I cannot talk about, now I talk all the 7 mental blocks in 1 hour. Because I am fed up, actually speaking. I am bored. In the recent times, you are the only one to whom I am talking this mindset with little more elaboration. And I am putting it in the YouTube. Only Veena Ganesh called me and said, "Sir, what a wonderful, this you have been telling to us 20 years back. But this way you have never talked." He was telling me. She was crying actually, Veena Ganesh. That's
I
her
think
approach.
yesterday she had called,
No,
right?
that was about 2 days back. Yesterday also she called and said the same thing. Because I am trying to give the best efforts to make you sensitive to the mindsets. So, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right perspective, and right decisions. These are the so-called eightfold paths. In fact, as you said, Patanjali talks about it, original Yoga Sutra. Not about all of them. I don't know where is it. This right concentration. Okay. I have written a lot of markings on this. That's it. Because I did a training program on this. Patanjali talks about this in this context. What has come into my looking? That is verse number 5, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, verse number 5 in chapter number 1 is, verse number 5 says that there are 5 types of mental activity. They may or may not cause suffering. That's all. These 5 are understanding, misunderstanding, imagination, sleep and memory. That's all. These are not very well known. He says understanding can cause suffering also. That's what we said about sensitivity and all that. Misunderstanding also can cause suffering.
Yeah.
The way understanding it. Then imagination. Most of the time people suffer from imagining what will happen to me if this is going to. Then sleep, causing suffering. So too much of sleep is really against the evolution of the mind. That I also found out by analyzing the biodata of, I called you, I analyzed the biodata of 82 world-class people. None of them, a lot, as I told you, there are individual differences, but there are 10 or 12 common things also. One is that they never bothered about sleep. Of course, another thing is they never bothered about food also. Now, other things, something like this. Yeah. Certain interesting things. In this context, I want to just read out only. That is Patanjali Yoga Sutra, chapter 1 only. So, the obstacles to settle the mind. That means calm, cool, unshakable lake. 1. Illness. which even Buddha never talked about. Nobody has talked about it. Only the Sanic tradition talks about that. 2. Fatigue. Simply fatigued, tired. That's also actually a part of illness only, which I don't know why Patanjali differentiated illness with fatigue. But we don't know whether fatigue is the correct translation into English. 3. Doubt, which we discussed in the context of self-doubt. 4. Carelessness. These are all beautiful actually, which nobody else talks. Not even Buddha talked about. Then laziness. Then attachment. Then delusion. Delusion meaning these false beliefs, like that in religions and politics and other ideologies. Then comes little complex, the failure to achieve samadhi. Then third, the failure to maintain samadhi. These are distractions from the path of yoga. And then verse number 33 also in chapter 1 is very significant. The mind becomes clear and serene, meaning serene is not just pure. A young child's mind is, for example, serene. When the when the following qualities are cultivated. 1. Friendliness towards the joyful. 2. Compassion towards the suffering. 3. Happiness towards the pure. Then impartiality towards the impure. These are all ordinary ideas which I don't appreciate to that great. Everything is very wonderful, but some are more wonderful. Then again somewhere else, before that somewhere he said cause of suffering is misunderstanding, etc. Okay, yeah. 5 types of mental activity that cause suffering are understanding, misunderstanding, imagination, sleep and memory. Then in the second chapter, it is repeated in a different way. The causes of suffering are 5. 1. Ignorance of our real nature. 2. Egoism. I am the great kind of. Attachment. Then aversion. General aversion towards the people. Like Indian upper class communities have an aversion towards the lower class and all that. And the fear of death. Then he talks about the 8 limbs of yoga, which is very well known. Almost all so-called gurus and swamis are talking about all these things because they are connected with normal life of people, and everybody has to agree to what this is. As you said, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Okay. Then he talks about the laws of life, or again 5. Non-violence, truthfulness, integrity, chastity, and non-attachment.
I think they come under yamas.
That are interpretations. Don't, you are still, I am talking to you. Don't just go by textbook thing, this comes under yama, that comes under this, or classification of knowledge which will not allow you to be free. Just to take the essence of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now we are talking to a so-called Swami. You did not understand most of them. It are all mostly bullshit only. I have interviewed certain Swamis who were in the Himalayas for 35 years. I gave food and shelter to one of the top Swamis in this Islandry for some, for some 5 months. And one day proved him that he is a fool, and in the presence of many others, I asked him to get out of my place for being so pretentious. So, when you talk to your audience, okay, these are yama, that's the way it is going on. Okay? The rules of living are 5. Simplicity, contentment, purification, refinement, surrender to the Lord. That's, I would say, bullshit. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it's a bullshit. I am telling. It's all talking about liberation and enlightenment and surrender to Lord. Which Lord? I would like to ask Patanjali, which bloody Lord you are talking, Patanjali? I will ask him. Because you only talk about complete liberation and enlightenment. So which Lord you should surrender to? This is what is taken by the gurus and telling them, you surrender to Shiva, surrender to this body, that body. I am talking at this level. I am not imposing this on you. No, no, no. I told you now what, if Patanjali is alive, he must be around here. He cannot die. If Patanjali comes here, I will ask him a question, looking into his eyes straight. Which bloody Lord you want me to surrender? And you are the one who talks about Samadhi and beyond Samadhi. And you are talking, these are the 5 rules of living. Yes. Who? For the majority. I don't talk to you like one of the majority, then I am not interested. If you want to continue like one of the majority, we will stop the sessions right away. Okay? Got it?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah. So, like the stone, all these knowledges are like stones. Wonderful. Use it to open the gates of your understanding. Not to keep that stones and keep it as in a casket and every day go and pray to that. No. Throw it away. That's why Zen is greater than all the Indian Vedanta. Okay, Vedanta also implies that, but Zen masters, the Japanese originality is really originality. They got the essence of it. That's what Japan has always done. Japan is number 1 in the world in making steel. In fact, Japan does not have a single spot of iron ore available. They import it and they make the best steel in the world. They made the automobiles state of the art. It was not there. They got the technology from somewhere and they made it impeccable. That's what they have done with the ideas of Indian Veda and Upanishads and distilling the essence and presenting it in the form of Zen. That's why Zen just does not believe in talking too much, which I am doing now. I used to do that in my 3-year kind of a training. Just to give a clue and go work out and come back. You go unbounded. Who is talking? Unbounded by anything. So that word Lord gives a lot of opportunity for the I would say the evil leaders to interpret. So millions of people are surrendering to Lord. What difference in their behavior? I am not just talking. Look at the society. How many people in your neighborhood do really appreciate your singing? How many? Okay. They are all not going to the churches and temples and they all don't believe in some gods and deities. Every one of them almost. Very few people only would be like me. You should go inside the temples in Tamil Nadu. You can, in Kerala, so they are rolling in the ground. Yeah. Ashtanga pranamam, bend our body, even the floor is fully of dirt and soil of the walking of other people there, with all impeccable brand, ironed shirt and one they will lie down flat on the board. Okay. Tirupati temple, one of the richest religious in the world, richest. Crores and crores. Who gives the money, you think? Unethical business people. Unethical business people. And so on. And there's a logic for that also for the majority. In Kerala it is called Dushtane Devam Panapola Valarthum. In Kerala language. That means the God will give all support to the evil person. So good people are all very happy. So the so-called rich people are all evil. That is why they are rich. You are really good. What good? They are also making rumors about the other person, finding fault with the other people. In Kerala, I told you, I am in contact with so many pujaris and all that. I don't know what they go do and all that. So one day one pujari was here, and incidentally he said about one puja called Shatru Samhara Puja. Shatru Samhara Puja is a puja is done to suppress or eliminate or get rid out of the disturbances created by an enemy. Shatru meaning enemy, Samhara meaning to finish him, puja. I said, people have so many people have shatrus, enemies. What are you talking, sir? Like this guy asked me, where are you living? Are you in this world at all? Sir, you go to any temple in Kerala state, there will be a list of puja written on a board. Number one will be Shatru Samhara Puja. I said, and he was giving an example, sir, if you buy a new brand of television, the other guy will go and do something against you. He was telling us an example. If you buy a new model of car, the other guy in the neighborhood who cannot tolerate it and he will go and do something to put you down. So, to escape from the curse of whatever they do, you do this Shatru Samhara Puja. He said every day he is doing minimum average 9 to 10. So, every day. And then some days there will be even up till 25, 26. And his is not a big temple and all that. So, Veena Ganesh took my data and all those details to one of the top astrologers in Tamil Nadu. With my permission only. I would not go and all that. And then after that only I entered into research in destiny. Then I went and met him 2-3 times and interviewed him and all that. Okay. Because of the accuracy in what he said. Anyway. And he also said, I have a lot of shatrus. I said, wonder why I don't even interact with people.